Hey, I'm Chef Ava with Ava's Low Country Cuisine. I'm originally from South Carolina and I am a mom of 3, a retired Army vet. Well, now I'm located in Tampa and I love to cook, so I want to show you some of the favorite recipes I have for you. Today we're going to be making peach cobbler chicken and waffles, chicken wontons with our apricot jam. Also, we're going to be making a vegan dish which consists of a summer hash with vegan egg and a vegan sausage. So let's get into the first dish. First, we're gonna start off with our peaches. You wanna make sure you have 1 can of 8-ounce peaches. This is what I have right here. Just go ahead and we're going to put it in the pan. We're gonna make sure our stove is on medium heat. So once we do that, you wanna add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You're gonna add that to your pan, and you're also gonna add a 1/2 cup of regular sugar. White sugar is totally fine. If you can't have it just because you are diabetic or anything, you can always cut back and use the sugar of your liking. So with this, we're gonna bring this up to a boil. So this is where we're gonna start off. With this, we're also going to use, you wanna take a stick of butter, but we're only gonna cut it into 2 pieces. So we're gonna drop that in there. And we want all of this to melt down. So you want to make sure that this cooks slowly while you're working on your other items for your peach cobbler. We're getting ready to start this. Now we're going to add a little bit of cinnamon to this. So we already have our cinnamon. We just want to sprinkle a little bit in there. Got to give it a little bit more flavor than that. A little bit of vanilla extract. The same thing you add to your peach cobbler. And we're also going to add some nutmeg. So now, like I said, we just want this to cook. I have my stove set on medium heat, so we're just gonna let that cook. While we wait on that to start cooking and come back, we're gonna start off on battering our chicken. So what you're gonna do is you wanna have your chicken batter, what we already made. We're gonna have our milk, what we have right here for our batter, for our chicken. And we also have our chicken tenderloins. I feel like chicken tenderloins are good to use just because they're already tender, and chicken breast you don't have to cut. They're already cut for you. You're also gonna need a little bit of olive oil because you're gonna need that to fry your chicken in the pan. First thing we're gonna do is start off with our seasoning our chicken. So I always set up a station. It helps perfectly when you start doing things like this. Get everything together, set up your little station, and it'll all work out. So we're gonna get a plate. And first, what I do is I take my chicken and I'll put it in my flour. Now I like to double batter it because I like a crunchy chicken. So we're gonna dip it in that milk and hit it back in the flour and batter it again. And see? So you're gonna do this, repeat this until you have all your chicken battered. So flour, milk, and flour. Now this flour batter, you can get store-bought batter. You don't necessarily have to make, I make my own. So I use a little bit of Creole, a little bit of ginger, and my secret seasoning is to make it all come together and dip, because I like a crunchy chicken. I feel like if you're doing a chicken and waffle, you gotta have a crunchy chicken on top. All right, so we've already battered our chicken. We wanna come back over here to our peach cobbler. As you can see, it's starting to cook down. Now, what we want on our peach cobbler, we want it to turn brown. We want a brown consistency. So I would say you will need to let this cook for at least about 25-30 minutes. Let it cook all the way down until all those flavors get into your peaches. So I'm just stirring it, and make sure you stir it constantly. So you can leave it, come back, do something else, stir it, keep it going. We're getting ready to fry our chicken. What you want to do is make sure you have a pot on the stove. You can do a small pot or a fryer. Make sure you get it up to heat, warm, and I'm gonna show you how I test it to make sure it's warm. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on. I got it on medium heat so it can start getting hot. Meanwhile, we're gonna work on our waffles. So I have 2 cups of flour, regular white flour. If you can't have white flour, use almond flour. But this is what we're gonna use. So we're gonna start off with our 2 eggs. We're gonna put it in there. Baking powder. I would say if you're doing it, always add your dry ingredients first and then come back. So baking powder, I would say just add about a half a tablespoon of baking powder to this. And you also want to add your salt to this. I would say 2 pinches of salt is fine. And you're gonna go ahead and add your milk. Now what I do is slowly add my milk and then whisk and add as more as I need it. So I'm starting off with 2 cups, but I'm not gonna really use 2 cups. So I'm gonna grab my whisk and we're just gonna go ahead and start. So you wanna make sure, like I said, with the waffle mix, it has to be really loose. And as you can see, it's really thick. So you keep adding milk to loosen that batter up. Just like anyone, to be honest, you can even use any type of waffle mix. You don't have to make it from scratch. Just get you a box of waffle mix from any grocery store and put it together. A quick breakfast that you can do for the kids going to school or having friends come over. And you can also add sugar into this. Yep. So it's getting there. As you can see, your waffles mix is ready. But what I'm going to do is, so I'm going back over here to my peaches. I'm going to take some of this juice from my peaches and add it to my waffle mix. That's what's also going to help for my sweetness. So we're going to take a little bit of this and then we're going to put it back. And you just want to add a little bit of this to your waffle mix. All right. So now turn that back on. Let that simmer down for, like I said, until like it starts to turn brown. All right. So now we have our waffle batter is already done. Now we're gonna move into our chicken. So our chicken should be hot. Now the test that I like to do to see if my chicken is hot is I test my oil. If you hit it with water and it starts to do that, you means your grease is already ready for you to start frying. So you're gonna take our chicken, we're just gonna drop that right in there. Oh my God, you guys can only smell these peaches right now. It smells so good, like a regular peach cobbler. You're just missing the bread. We wanna make sure we have it nice and golden brown. So you wanna fry it until it heats 165 degrees. You have a thermometer, and say you don't know, you can test it with your thermometer just to make sure it's up to temp. But we want our chicken nice and golden brown. So while we wait on here, come back and stir our peaches. We're gonna start on our waffle. We're gonna spray our waffle maker. So we don't want it sticking to the waffle maker. And we're gonna pour this in here. I can taste it now. It's gonna be so good. So we're only gonna do 2. All right. Peach cobbler, chicken and waffle. And most waffle makers will tell you when it's ready. I'm gonna turn it on 3 because I want my waffles nice and golden brown. So over here at our chicken, so now we're gonna get ready to flip our chicken. So we're gonna flip it. So we're gonna get ready to stir this peaches because we want this peaches to cook down. And when we get back, we're gonna plate all of this together and you're gonna love it. So now that our chicken is already fried, as you can see, it's nice and golden brown. We're gonna come over here to our peaches because these are ready too. So you wanna give it one last stir before you add your waffles to your plate. And as you can see, the color of it is nice and brown, has that caramel kind of color. So you wanna come over here, and now we're gonna grab our waffles from the waffle maker. So you just wanna take your waffle and put it on a plate. You can cut it up if you want to, like into like nice little bite pieces. We're gonna take our chicken, we're gonna cross it, crisscross. I like the crisscross look. Make it look all pretty. So we're gonna add that. Now we're gonna get ready to take our peaches and we're going to drizzle this all over. So you make sure you put those peaches on there and you wanna put that juice. And we're gonna garnish this with a little bit of cinnamon and powdered sugar. So we're gonna take our powdered sugar, pour it in there. You can use one of these little screeners, and there you have it. you have your peach cobbler chicken and waffle. So today we're gonna start off with our summer hash. We're gonna be using this ingredients: butternut squash, sweet potato, potatoes, onions, and we're going to also use our vegan sausage, what we have right here. You can cut these up into pieces, get any type of vegan sausage that you want. And we're going to be using our eggs, vegan egg, they're plant-based. So this is a vegan vegetarian dish anyone can eat. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our olive oil and we want to put it in the pan while it gets hot. So we're gonna just put it in the pan so it can start getting hot. You're going to want to cut your butternut squash. First thing you want to do, this is your butternut squash. I would say cut off the longer piece of the butternut squash just because you don't have to seed it and core it and everything. You just want a little bit if it's just for you, but if you're making it for everyone, then you want to do all of that. So you want to peel it, which we have right here, and you're going to want to cut it. So first thing I do is cut it into don't gotta be perfect, because it's gonna look like a hash. You're gonna cut it into lines, I call it. So little sizes like these. And then you wanna chop it into squares. So you're gonna use that, and all you do is put it in a bowl or put it in your pan. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's gonna cook down. Next, your sweet potatoes. So we already have our sweet potato right here cut, but just want to tell you, you want to definitely peel your sweet potato and you want to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. We had it sitting in water so it won't turn brown. So if you're starting this early and you don't want your items to turn brown, just put a little bit of water in there. Same thing goes for your potatoes. So this is my potatoes. As you can see, I have it sitting in water, and as you can see, the water has already started to turn pinkish. It's because you don't want your potatoes to turn brown. So if you're gonna do it, make sure you have a bowl of water. Same thing, peel your potatoes, cut them up into pieces. We're gonna get ready to start this. So we're gonna add our butternut squash to our pan. We're gonna drain this water off our sweet potato, and we're going to put all of that in there. Now, it's all gonna break down once you start cooking. So it's gonna look like a good hash. And you wanna add your potatoes. Next, we wanna season this a little bit and add our plant-based butter. So I melted it down, so you definitely want to add a little bit of plant-based butter. Save a little bit of it because you're gonna use that for your onions. Now, this has to cook for at least 25-30 minutes. As you start to stir it, it'll start to break down and look like a mashed potato, kind of like a mash, but it's like a hash. So while we go through it, I'll show you. We're gonna add a little bit of our Creole seasoning, just to start off, and we season as we go. We're gonna add a little bit of thyme. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper. I also like to use white pepper on something like this. This is what I add on here. While we wait for that to start cooking, we're gonna cut our onion. So with an onion, like I said, the onions just need to be sauteed. You wanna make sure you peel the onions. Some people say onions make you cry, but I guess after you start cutting it a lot, it doesn't make me cry that much. Unless I'm cutting like 50 onions at a time. So you wanna make sure you peel these onions, peel all of this off, cut the core part off, and we're gonna put all of this scraps on a plate. So I kinda call it a compost plate, just to put all your trash and everything on. And what I do is I like to slice my onion, and then I like to make sure it's all together and then start slicing. Because then you can see it's starting to come out in little pieces. Turn that over. And these onions are gonna cook down. If you're the type of person that don't like onions, I would say if you want it smaller, you can definitely just chop it up. So now we're gonna get ready to caramelize these onions while we wait on our potatoes. So when you're cooking your hash, you wanna make sure you do stir the pot. So I'm just letting it start to get hot, and then what I'm gonna do is just start stirring it all together, because you don't want it to turn brown. You want it to kind of be on medium heat, and you want it to kind of slow cook it. And don't put it on high heat because it'll burn and start to turn your potatoes brown. And we're gonna start on our onions. You're gonna add your plant-based butter to your pan. So we're getting ready to caramelize our onions. We're gonna let that get just hot a little bit, let it get up to heat, and then we're gonna add our onions to this. Now, like I said, with this dish, you're gonna be using vegan sausage. Don't have to use it, you can use tofu, whatever you want. So this is our vegan sausage that we're gonna be using, and we're also gonna be using spinach. So wanna add some vegetables to it. So while we wait, we're gonna cut the ends off these spinach. Make sure you wash and rinse them. But we're gonna get ready to cut this off. Just make sure, you know, the long ones you cut off a little bit. And you can get this from your locally sourced farmer's market, a grocery store, or even get the one out the bag. And we're gonna saute this down once we finish. Now, our butter is already hot. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of your onions. You don't have to use a lot of onions, just a little bit. And you're gonna turn this on medium heat again, and you're gonna let this caramelize. Now, this is something you can do in the morning time. You can definitely do this for dinner. You can use this hash for a dinner dish and add it with like cauliflower steak or anything like that for vegans or vegetarians. While this is constantly cooking, you wanna make sure you keep adding your olive oil. And make sure you get an olive oil that's for frying, baking, cooking, that has a high heat content. So right now we're gonna just let this cook down, and we're gonna let our onions caramelize. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna put it all together. So now with the summer hash, it has already started to cook down. As you can see, the consistency of it is starting to kind of look like a mash, but not really. So we have our butternut squash again, sweet potatoes, and regular potatoes. So we're just gonna stir this. We're gonna add our caramelized onions. As you can see, they started to turn brown. We're gonna add that to this. And then now we're gonna let this cook down just a little bit longer. And we're gonna use that pan, so don't throw it away. We're gonna stir this and then turn it down on medium heat and continue to let it cook a little bit longer until your potatoes are kind of like, you can hit it and they're starting to mash. You see that one is just a little bit hard, so we just needed to cook it a little bit longer. I said about another 10 minutes and this will be ready to go. So we're gonna move this to a side and let that cook slowly over here. While that's cooking, we're gonna get ready to start on our sausage. This, like I said, is a plant-based sausage we're gonna go ahead and use. So we're gonna put that in there. Let it cook down. We're gonna turn it on medium-high heat, and we're gonna start cooking this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it. So it's kind of, you know, soften it up, break it up a little bit so it can look like a ground sausage. So we're just gonna hit it down, let it cook, and you still wanna have it like a brown consistency on these. Like I said, tofu or anything, just make sure you season it. So we're gonna add that. Gonna add a little bit of olive oil to this and start letting this cook. While that's cooking, we're gonna be getting ready to, once that comes out, we're gonna switch places. We're gonna cook our spinach and we're gonna get ready to cook our eggs. You got the caramelized onions, you got the potato, you got everything is breaking down. So it's starting to look really good and it smells really good. So you can put fresh herbs in this, rosemary, thyme, basil, whatever you want, you can put that in there. We're still going to season it in a little bit. All right. So our sausages are starting to turn brown, so that's good. That's a plus. Now I'm going to use this same pan when I'm finished. I'm going to cook my spinach in this too. All right, so now our sausage has turned brown, nice and golden brown. So we're gonna take those out. We're gonna put it right there. We're gonna come back. You're gonna put a little bit more olive oil, just a little bit. And then we're gonna add our spinach. Now I am gonna season these spinaches a little bit, so I'm gonna add my special sauce, seasoning. Season that a little bit. You can just season it with a little bit of rosemary, sea salt, a little bit sea salt. You can just season it to wherever you're liking. Add a little bit more olive oil to this. You just want to cook it down a little bit until it whelps down. Not too much. That's all, and we're just gonna add that to the plate. All right. Now in this right here, we're gonna use it to cook our eggs. As I told you, a 1-pot dish. You don't need too many pots. So we're just gonna add a little bit of olive oil for our eggs. Take this. Plant-based eggs, you can get it from any farmer's market, any retail stores. And we're gonna add our eggs in here. And you'd be surprisingly, it tastes just like eggs. You can take a little bit of salt, season your eggs, turn my stove down to medium. We're gonna wipe this, and we're gonna get ready to scramble our eggs. And then we're gonna put all this together and show you how it's looking. All right, so while our eggs are cooking, let's stir this hash one last time. And while we're stirring it this time, we're gonna use my sea salt and we're gonna season it. I'm gonna add that sea salt to there. I'm gonna mash it down. You know, I'm just hitting it as I stir this and let that cook. And over here, we're gonna scramble up our eggs, just eggs. And as you can see, plant-based eggs, it looks just like eggs, but it's plant-based. Really healthy dish. Our eggs are ready. We're gonna get ready to plate this all up. So we're gonna season our hash one last time. We're gonna add a little bit of Creole seasoning. Gotta add a little bit of spice. So we're gonna take that, stir it up, and it's ready to go. I'm hitting it nice and soft. We're gonna add this to our bowl. So we're gonna get ready to start plating our dish. So we're gonna take this and just put it in here. You can smell the herbs, the sea salt, and everything. It's so good, okay? We're gonna add that. Now we're gonna add our spinach down. So you're gonna take your spinach and just place it right there in the middle. Then you're gonna just add your sausage. Kind of like sprinkle it all around. And we're going to add one last touch of my sea salt on top. We're gonna take the eggs. I'm not gonna use all of it, just a little bit. Then you're gonna add garnish. And there you go. You have your summer hash with your spinach and your sausage and your garnish. Plant-based, good for vegans, vegetarian, anybody that doesn't eat meat can eat this dish, and it's very fulfilling. So we're gonna start doing our chicken wontons. Now this dish right here is mainly for like an appetizer, something you just wanna pop in your mouth, something you can just, all right, I just need a quick snack for today. It's easy to make and easy to cook, so let's get started. So we're going to use our chicken tenderloins and we're going to season it. A little bit of Creole seasoning. We're gonna add a little bit of ginger to this. Gonna add a little bit of pepper, a little bit of thyme, and of course, you know, you gotta rub it in. Just like baste it on both sides. So I'm gonna use my other hand and add and just rub it in. All right, so we gotta season. So we're gonna pan sear these. Let me wash my hands real fast. So we're gonna pan sear these. Now you're gonna use a little bit of butter. So we're gonna just take I just cut a little piece of butter, just put it in there. Let that cook, swirl it around. And now you're going to place your chicken. Pan sear your chicken to nice and golden brown. Once you finish with that, once it comes to nice and golden brown, we're gonna start adding our cabbage, our onions, and we're gonna place it all together. So our chicken is starting to pan sear this chicken. It's starting to sizzle. So we're getting ready to flip it over. And you just want it to, like I said, cook a little bit in here. That's all you want to do. Now once this chicken reach 165 degrees, you can just test it with your thermometer. And once it's cooked fully, we're going to chop it up because we're going to use it into our filling for our wontons. So I want to go over the wonton stuff. So you're going to need, these are vegan wontons. You can use it, like I say, even vegans can, vegetarians can use it. You can just take out the chicken and just add the cabbage to it. So you want to make sure you have your wontons. Make sure you put like a nice wet cloth over it so it won't harden, because these are dry out really fast. You want to have your egg wash to seal our wontons. We're going to caramelize our onions into our filling. So now we're getting ready to flip it over. I like my chicken a nice, like, kind of golden brown on top, so it can have like a good little color. While we wait on that, you're gonna get your pot of oil, and you're gonna have it, get a small pot, nothing big, or your little fryer. You wanna place it on high heat so it can start heating up. So when you get ready to drop these little babies, you can just pop them right in the oil. We're gonna get ready to start adding our stuff. So we're letting our chicken cook on one side, and on the other side, we're gonna utilize that for the cabbage. So you're gonna add your cabbage. And I'm gonna tell you why we're doing this. And you're gonna add your onions. So we're gonna use our pan to do everything in. We're gonna cook our chicken in here. We're gonna saute our cabbage, our onions, and everything in this. Once we finish that, you're gonna add this apricot preserve to the pan. Now it's gonna get all those flavors in there. Everything that you added in here is gonna soak it up and make it a nice dipping sauce. So while we wait, we're gonna go ahead and season this side. A little bit of Creole. We're gonna add a little bit of sea salt. Gonna add a little bit of thyme. And me personally, I love ginger in this dish, so we're gonna add a little bit of ginger. We're gonna flip our chicken. Now our chicken is almost done. You see how that nice and color of it is? Yes, that's what you want on both sides. While we wait, we're gonna saute these over here. So you want to take your pan and just saute your onions, your peppers, your cabbage, everything. Just kind of hit it a little bit. Try to make sure it's separated from your chicken. With your cabbage and onions, you want this to cook down. You want it to wilt down so it can be like kind of like a cabbage slaw that you want. So like I said, we're going to spread that in the pan. Now our chicken is done. It's nice and golden brown. We're going to take a cutting board and put it on here to cool. So now we're going to just saute the cabbage. Just stir it up a little bit. Put it on medium heat. Just make sure it's on there. We're going to step away for a minute while we chop up our chicken. So our chicken, we want to chop it up. And we're going to add this to our mixture. So once I finish chopping this, we're going to add everything to that little white bowl. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So chop it up kind of small because you don't, I mean, unless you want some big chunks in your wonton, but your wontons are going to be kind of small. So what you want to do is make sure they're chopped up real fine so you get all of that, the cabbage, the onions, the chicken, and everything. All right, so now I'm going to add this right to this bowl. We're going to set that aside. And we're going to take our cabbage mixture and we're going to add it to the bowl. Add everything. Now, like I said, do not put this pan in the sink. Because what you're gonna do with it, why this is cool, we're gonna start on our jam. So with this, we're gonna just stir all of that up. And these, like I said, are called our chicken wontons. Now everything that we just cooked in that pan, we're gonna get ready to add our apricot preserve. So you're gonna just dump that in there. You just need a little bit of it. You're gonna take and add a little bit of butter. Just a nice little scoop. Add it to the pan, and now we're gonna let all of this melt together. Now, all the seasonings from the chicken and the cabbage and everything should be in this pan. So it's gonna give your apple preserve. You can use an apple jam, you can use an orange jam preservative, or whatever you want. It'll be a good preservative for your dipping sauce. So we're just gonna stir this up and cook this on low heat while we start on our wontons. So I'm just gonna drop it off on real low. And I want all of this right here to melt together with the butter. Just gonna stir it one last and then step away. And come back. So now we have our filling, we have our wontons, and we need our egg wash. So you crack one egg, add a little bit of water to it, and whisk it really good. And you're gonna use this to seal your wonton wrappers. So I'm gonna show you how to make them. So you take your wonton, and let's get a utensil. And you're gonna take a filling, and you're gonna put it right in the middle. You're gonna take your finger and just see, like, do it on all corners. Now this is a sealer. These are easy to make, so you fold it in half. And I take all 4 of my fingers and I just press down and seal the corners. This is what I do. And see, now it looks like a little triangle. So you're gonna take it, you're gonna put it on each end, and you're going to fold it into like a, I would say like a butterfly, or I'd like to seal it. And you're gonna crisscross, I call it crisscross applesauce, like I do tell my kids. So you're gonna do that and it comes into a wonton. And you're gonna do that again. You don't wanna add a lot of filling, you just wanna add enough so you can be able to seal it. And you're going to add your egg wash around the corners. Now push it in there. Make sure nothing is falling out. Take your 4 fingers, press down, seal it, and then hold it at the end of each end and fold it in like this. All right. And you're gonna fry these. So your pot of oil should be on, since you're gonna take it and you're gonna fry it. All right, so here we go. We got one that decided to crack on me. So what I do is, you're gonna push that in, take a little bit of seal. This is like a dough, so you're just gonna press it down. Now this can happen. You just press it down and see, it's like filling in a hole. So we have our wontons. We're gonna come over here, like I said, and stir up our sauce. Oh, it's starting to melt now. So you just wanna turn the heat up a little bit. I like to shake the pan to get everything. And what you're gonna do is, you're just gonna add a little bit of Creole, a little bit of this. That's about it. A little bit of thyme and a little bit of Creole. You're just gonna add. All right, so now we need to test our oil to make sure it's hot. And how do we do that? We're gonna put our hand in some water. We're gonna hit it. It's hot. So we're gonna put these wontons on this plate, and we're gonna come over here and we're gonna just drop them in the fryer. Like I said, these things are so delicious. You'll get hooked on them. Quick snack. What you wanna do with these, you just want it to have a nice little golden brown color to these wontons. You want it to be nice golden brown. You don't want them to burn. Don't leave them in the oil too long. And you want to make sure you put them on a plate with a paper towel. So now they're nice and golden brown. So what we're going to do is going to scoop them right out. See how pretty they look? All right, so we're going to take them and just take them out. And it should look like this. Let's let it cool for a couple minutes. And then we're going to come over here to our sauce. All right, so I think our sauce is about done. So now we're going to get ready to plate these and show you how it's done. Our sauce is finished. We're going to add our sauce to our little sauce cup for our wontons. So just place it in there. All right, got our sauce. Now we're going to just take our wontons and place them on the plate. Doesn't matter how you place them. They're cool. We're going to try it so you can hear that crunch. We're going to put our little sauce. You want to having guests over and you want to make it look pretty, put a little greenery right around it on the plate. Make it look all pretty. They'll be like, oh, you slaved in the kitchen on this. Yep. So we're going to take one and we're just going to let you know how this sounds. So you're going to, and you have a wonton. The filling and the crunch and everything. That's it. Hey, I'm Chef Ava with Ava's Low Country Cuisine. Thanks for tuning in today to watch our recipes. If you didn't catch the summer veggie hash, the chicken wontons, and our peach cobbler chicken and waffles, follow us. We're a private personal chef at Ava's Low Country Cuisine on Instagram and Facebook. We come right to you. We cook everything that you saw right in your house. So definitely check us out. See you guys.